Once upon a time, in a land where the earth wore a cloak of emerald green and the skies painted themselves in hues of fire at dusk, there lay a village called Kijiji cha Nima. It was a place where the air hummed with the laughter of children, the rhythmic pounding of maize in wooden mortars, and the occasional crow of a rooster announcing the arrival of dawn. The villagers lived in harmony with the land, their lives woven into the fabric of tradition, guided by the wisdom of their ancestors and the whispers of the gods. But beyond the village, where the earth rose to meet the heavens, stood a mountain known as Malima wa Majibu, the Mountain of Wonders. Its peak was often shrouded in mist, as though the gods themselves had draped a veil over its secrets. The mountain was both revered and feared, for it was said that within its depths flowed a stream of gold coins, a gift from the gods to the women of Kijiji cha Nima. Every Friday, the women would ascend the mountain, their baskets balanced gracefully on their heads, to collect the coins that would sustain their families. Yet, the gods were not without their conditions. They demanded that a portion of the wealth be shared with the poor, the sick, and the forgotten. For a time, the women obeyed, and the village prospered. But as the years passed, greed began to creep into the hearts of some, and they hoarded the coins for themselves. The gods, angered by their defiance, struck these women with blindness, a stark reminder that the wealth of the earth was not meant for the selfish. It was in this village that a curious and rebellious boy named Kipchoge lived. Kipchoge was unlike the other children. While they played games of hide and seek among the acacia trees, he would sit by the fire, listening intently to the elders as they recounted tales of the mountain and its mysteries. His eyes would sparkle with wonder, and his mind would race with questions that no one could answer. Why were the women only allowed to go on Fridays? What lay beyond the stream of gold coins? And why did the gods demand such a heavy price for greed? One day, unable to contain his curiosity any longer, Kipchoge decided to defy tradition. He would venture into the mountain on a day other than Friday, not to collect coins, but to uncover its secrets. He shared his plan with his closest friends, Wanjira, whose laughter was as bright as the morning sun, and Mwangi, whose strength was matched only by his loyalty. At first, they hesitated, for the mountain was not a place to be trifled with. But Kipchoge's determination was infectious, and soon, they found themselves agreeing to join him on his daring adventure. The trio set out at dawn, their hearts pounding with a mixture of excitement and fear. The path to the mountain was steep and rugged, lined with thorny bushes and jagged rocks. As they climbed higher, the air grew cooler, and the sounds of the village faded into silence. The only noise that remained was the rhythmic crunch of their footsteps and the occasional cry of a distant bird. Suddenly, the tranquility was shattered by a low, guttural growl. The children froze, their eyes scanning the dense foliage for the source of the sound. Then, emerging from the shadows, came a herd of antelopes unlike any they had ever seen. Their coats shimmered like molten bronze in the sunlight, and their horns, curved and sharp, glowed a deep, blood red. But what truly sent shivers down their spines was the fact that the antelopes were speaking, not in the language of animals, but in the tongue of humans. "Turn back, foolish children," one of the antelopes intoned, its voice echoing like a drumbeat. "The mountain is not for the likes of you. Go home, before it is too late." Kipchoge, though terrified, stood his ground. "We mean no harm," he said, his voice trembling. "We only seek to understand the mysteries of this place." The antelopes snorted, their eyes blazing with an otherworldly light. "Understanding comes at a price," another antelope warned. "Are you willing to pay it?" Before Kipchoge could respond, the antelopes charged, their hooves pounding against the earth like thunder. The children turned and ran, their hearts racing as they dodged trees and leapt over rocks. The forest seemed to close in around them, the shadows growing darker and more menacing with each passing moment. Just when it seemed as though they could run no further, they stumbled upon a clearing bathed in golden light. At its center flowed a stream, its waters glistening with countless gold coins. The sight was so breathtaking that, for a moment, the children forgot their fear. But then, they noticed the figures standing by the stream. Women from their village, their eyes hollow and unseeing, their hands clutching empty baskets. Kipchoge felt a pang of sadness as he realized that these were the women who had been struck blind by the gods. He approached one of them, a woman named Nyambura, who had once been known for her kindness and generosity. "Nyambura," he whispered, "what happened to you?" The woman turned her sightless eyes toward him, her voice filled with regret. We were greedy, child. We took the coins for ourselves and forgot the poor. The gods punished us, not out of cruelty, but to teach us a lesson. Wealth is meaningless if it is not shared. Kipchoge's heart ached as he listened to her words. He knew then that the mountain's true treasure was not the gold coins, but the wisdom it held. He turned to his friends and said, "We must take this message back to the village. We must remind everyone that the gods' gifts are meant to be shared." As they made their way back down the mountain, the antelopes watched them from a distance, their red horns glowing faintly in the twilight. This time, they did not give chase. Instead, they bowed their heads, as if in acknowledgement of the children's courage and understanding. When Kipchoge and his friends returned to the village, they were greeted with both relief and anger. The elders scolded them for their recklessness, but Kipchoge stood firm. He recounted their journey, the talking antelopes, the stream of gold coins, and the blind women. His words stirred something in the hearts of the villagers, a reminder of the values they had once held dear. From that day on, the women of Kijiji Cha Nima resumed their Friday journeys to the mountain, but with a renewed sense of purpose. They shared their wealth with the poor, the sick, and the forgotten, and the village flourished once more. As for Kipchoge, he became a storyteller, weaving tales of the mountain and its mysteries for generations to come. His stories were not just about the wonders he had seen, but about the lessons he had learned, lessons of courage, humility, and the importance of sharing. And though the mountain still stood, shrouded in mist and mystery, it was no longer a place of fear for the people of Kijiji Cha Nima. It was a reminder that the gods' gifts were not to be taken lightly, and that true wealth lay not in gold, but in the hearts of those who knew how to give.